Hi everyone, welcome to the orientation of the Human Capital Development Fellowship at Deep Thought. So those of you who are watching this live on YouTube, you can also send in your questions in the comments and we'll be taking questions from there as well. So some of you here, I think you joined a little early and we played a couple of videos. So in case you want to share your thoughts or reflections when you saw the video, right? What was going on in your mind while you were watching those videos, in case one of you wants to share. Anyone? Yeah, sure. Please unmute and speak.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, Tanvi, you're audible. Please go.
So I actually had joined when the second video was playing. So listening to everyone working in deep thought, listening to their reviews, it was like a good motivator and we got to know that what kind of environment we would be working in. So that was very helpful, the second video I had watched.
Okay. Anyone? You can just unmute and go ahead.
Hello. So my name is Sonam Dalmia,
Okay.
and I got this video previously at the time of I got that message from the Intensala, the deep thought, and I got motivated from that video also at previously.
Okay. So before I go in with the orientation, I wanted to ask if one of you wants to mention what got you interested in this Human Capital Development Fellowship? What got you curious to come and attend this orientation?
May I?
Yeah, Kriti, please go ahead.
Actually, human resource, as in Deep Thought, I saw the application. So I read about it is about psychology, and in my college also I used to counsel people about. I'm a counselor basically, informal one, but actually this is kind of a thing which I believe that I can help people throughout this, and I love helping people, and Deep Thought is kind of a way where I can achieve my career also in this. So I thought I should attend this. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Akriti. Tanvi, you want to go ahead? And as mentioned, the ones whose videos are off will be removed from the meet. I think I mentioned it multiple times. So, yeah, please, Tanvi, go ahead.
So actually, I am a management student in Nirma University. So I have, learned we are having a course of human resources in the basics. So I want to experience like what in the corporate world or how the thing that goes. Like I know basics of the theory. So how do we implement it and what all goes? So for a good experience, I had applied in Deep Thought.
Okay. So I'd like to state a few things. I'm not sure if you paid attention to it once the message was sent on Internshala. You guys must have heard of Jack Welch, former CEO of GE. If you've not heard of Jack Welch, I mean, he got one of the highest severance packages when he retired, somewhere around 400 million or something, right? Retirement package, right? So he was the CEO of GE for more than 20 years and he turned around GE. So, and he's very controversial kind of a CEO. He was famously called as Neutron Jack because he would fire people. He had the 20-60-20 rule. The bottom 20 would always make a list and fire them. And he said he believed in firing the bottom 20 because he said if someone is not performing well and you're holding on to them, then that's a huge mistake because if the economic situation is good, you're probably holding on to them. But what will happen if the economic situation is bad? Then you will be forced to fire them. But if you fire them when the economic situation is bad, what will happen to them? Do they get a job? When the economic situation is good, you give them gentle feedback. You tell them the feedback of where they have to improve and ask them to go to some other company where they can actually contribute. They do well, right? So this became very controversial around Jack Welch. But what he was very good at is GE became a CEO factory. All their group company CEOs mostly would come from GE itself. They were very good at grooming leaders out of people. Jack Welch believed that HR has to be the most important business function in a company. More than marketing, finance, or operations, HR has to be the most important function. Jack Welch believed that. And less than 1% of the companies in the world, he says, actually believe that HR is the most important business function. And he says that the team which fields the best team is the team which wins. And HR department of the company has to field the team, groom the team, maintain a good culture for the team, ensure that values-oriented alignment among everyone, ensure a strong L&D and so on. But in reality, this is not what you see in HR in India, or even globally. Jack Welch calls most HR departments as health and wellness party. So what do HRs do in most companies? Organize tea parties, organize outings, do the paperwork, right? It's largely administrative and time pass oriented stuff, which happens in a lot of companies. And do HRs get respect in a lot of companies? They don't, because to be honest, in a lot of companies, HRs don't do any serious work. So at least in the Indian context. But Deep Thought is a company which believes that HR is a very important function. Me as the founder, I spent a significant amount of my time on the HR function. Okay, let me ask you guys a question. We are a 45-member team at Deep Thought right now. So how many HR people do you think we have? We consider HR to be our most important business function. So out of 45, how many HR people do you think we have?
Sir, may I?
Yeah.
I think there must be 15 to 20 people from HR to manage all.
15 to HR, who's going to do the work?
So that is
okay. Any other guess? She says 15 to 20. 5. Okay. Okay. Let me bring in the anticlimax. In Deep Thought, we have 0 HRs. Till date, I think we hired 1 or 2 HRs in the past, didn't go well, but we have 0 HRs. There's one reason why Deep Thought has 0 HRs. The HR responsibility of Deep Thought is handled by all the leaders in Deep Thought. We pick up youngsters, we groom youngsters to become leaders, and we groom youngsters to take care of their team, take care of their people. So we have a total of, 4 team leaders and 12 micro leaders. So these 4 team leaders and 12 micro leaders do take the responsibility of HR. But we do not hire HRs. Because what we see is generally the people who come in the name of HR are nowhere as ambitious as our people are. So for me, it makes more sense to pick up somebody who's coming as a software developer, who's ambitious, who's a people person, and train that person to become a HR. Someone who's coming as a psychology researcher, who's interested in doing research, who's a very good researcher individually, and train that person to become a HR. Then maybe hire somebody who's a so-called HR and that person doesn't align with our culture. I mean, when the HR is not aligned with the culture, who's going to align the others with the culture? So that is why traditionally we've not hired HRs, but now we want to experiment and see. I mean, to be honest, even now I'm not convinced that HR people might suit our company. I hope you're getting the joke here. We are a company which is helping 4 companies right now in having a better HR department in their company. Large part of our work is HR. And we're not confident that we can hire HR people in our company. Because this is how HR has become a comedy today, a comedy circus today. You talk to most people in companies, they'll tell you HR is a time pass department. But at Deep Thought, we do not consider HR to be a time pass department. We believe HR is very important and the most important function in the company. So what is our core business? Our core business is we help companies with their human capital development and with their L&D. So for our clients, we hire beginners, we pick up very good beginners with that hunger to learn and so on. And we groom them in their fields and we help them take off. Now, when I asked you guys, what did you observe in the video? You said it was motivational. To be honest, that video was not motivational. So this is the Jay Shetty generation, right? Which feeds on motivational content today. I'm sorry to say that. And I'm sorry if it was demeaning or offending, but I believe we can watch better content. So, in that video, people were talking about what is the culture we have here. The culture which we have here, as John says, he likes to work at a theoretical level. He works to work at the level of ideas and concepts. He wants to build an idea and concept and from there build products or get into something. Mostly in work, you don't go into ideas and concepts, right? It's more robotic thing. But at Deep Thought, being a research and innovation company, he gets to work at the level of ideas and concepts. He's mainly a physics person. And he started working in multiple fields in Deep Thought and he was bringing that physics inclination into those fields. Or when you listen to Brajesh, he was talking about cross-functional aspect of Deep Thought. Or Purva was talking of how Deep Thought is dynamic and how things change and why that's exciting for things to be dynamic. But if you notice, when I ask multiple people, what did you see in that video? They say it was very motivational, it was very nice. So when people give me that answer, it means, hey, this person is not meant, this guy is not one amongst us. Because this person has not picked up the core of what the company is trying to do, right? Because when we hire people for various positions at Deep Thought, we don't hire them based on their skill set. We hire them based on their ability to learn. We want to see whether these guys, if given a chance to learn, can learn quickly. So if you give me two candidates, one candidate with 9 on 10 skill, one candidate with say 5 on 10 skill, and say the 9 on 10 candidate skill is rigid and would not learn, and the 5 on 10 candidate learns, I go and hire the 5 on 10 candidate. I do not hire the 9 on 10 candidate. That's how I'm a very different recruiter in the market. Because I have a knack of picking up people who can grow. And after 2 months, I go to my team and I show off. See, I hired that person. So what do I mean by that? I know this is live on YouTube, so possibly they're watching. So we hired 2 young girls, Pooja and Shagun, in April. They were absolute beginners with JavaScript back then. Absolute beginners with JavaScript. But I was very impressed with their hunger for learning and their self-awareness, their ability to reflect. They're very self-aware. Somebody who's self-aware can learn every day, can soak in information every day, can learn from the company environment. Somebody who's self-aware can soak in. Somebody who's not self-aware, somebody who's not sensitive to those micro details will watch the whole thing and just not get anything at all. So what's the point of hiring that person? That person will never learn in the company. But these girls, I saw they were picking up a lot of details. They were very observant. I hired them. Team was like, why did you hire them? Their skills are so weak. I said, Pooja will be one of the leaders in Deep Thought. And on a Zoom call, I told Pooja and this entire team, if somebody can become a CTO in the next 5 years, it is you. You have that ability to pick up these things. A lot of people didn't understand why I said that. But today, Pooja is one of our team leads. She leads a 7 to 8 member team in Deep Thought. Shagun is a full stack developer. She can do product management really well. She can do project management really well. She works full stack, front end, back end. But 4 months back, they were beginners. So one of my clients asked me, Tarun, how do you hire these people? What is your way of hiring? There again, I was showing off. I said, like how a typical Indian middle-class mother can twist a bendi and talk of the quality of the bendi. You give me a youngster, I can talk about the quality of this youngster. And they asked, how do you hire? I said, my secret is simple. I teach them something and I see their eyes. If their eyes light up at the right time, I know I'm hiring them. What do I mean by eyes light up at the right time? When you really comprehend something, a eureka moment is produced within. So when a eureka moment is produced, it's visible in the eyes. When someone comprehends, you can see it in the eyes. This is what I expect a Deep Thought recruiter to be like. Somebody who can look at people and be very perceptive, right? In seeing, does this person have growth mindset? Is a person arrogant or is a person humble? You can easily tell that if you look at their body language. In an interview, everybody says I'm the most humble person in the world. If you slap me on one cheek, I will show you my second cheek. I'll show you my forehead also to slap, is what people will tell you in an interview. But in reality, they can be, you know, as a HR, I mean, as a recruiter, not HR, but recruitment is one small part of HR. One thing is to identify candidates, to understand who is aligned to your company, who is aligned to that value system that you have. So there's so much to learn, and we are looking for youngsters who can come in, who can understand what the company is doing and help us execute our vision. Because we believe as a company, we exist to provide human capital development solutions. We are building softwares through which companies can hire the best, create a great learning culture for everyone, and create opportunities for everyone to learn and grow, create leaders out of everyone. So for me, it is HR's job to create those leaders. It is HR's job to conduct those learning drills and so on. So this is not a HR wala job. This is something more exciting, something more challenging, which is also very demanding in terms of learning. So if you're somebody who doesn't read a lot of books, I'm sorry, you will be in trouble for the first 2 months, even if you're hired. Because this needs people with intellectual thinking, with deep thinking. But again, we hire a lot of people who do not have the deep thinking on day one, but they pick it up in the organization as they get along. But the drive to learn, that appetite for learning is something we look for. And one thing I'm proud to tell you, on Internshala, you see that Deep Thought has hired 111 people, right? Or something more than that. All of those people who are hired went through a 30-hour-long selection process. We have unarguably India's toughest selection process for interns. At Deep Thought, we have India's toughest selection process for interns. Even large brands like Amazon or Google may not have such a rigorous process which we have. And see, we are a small company, we're a small startup. But why is it that people come to us? Because people realize that we have got a strong learning culture which helps them learn and grow. And in our selection process, you know, towards the end, we invite people to something called an observation process, where they get to spend 1 week with us and understand how we function. In that 1 week process, they understand whether this is the company meant for them or not. Because a lot of times you just watch videos of the company, read some articles, but then it turns out to be something else and you're not sure if that's the company you want to work for, right? That leads to a lot of attrition also. But what Deep Thought does is we try to help people understand what the company is all through the selection process and then come in. So again, we are now helping our clients also develop such interesting recruitment process through which they hire people who are aligned. We are helping our clients also develop very good learning drills within the company so people learn and grow. We have a lot of reflection drills within the company, so our clients also would be having those reflection drills. So in a nutshell, what will happen is we currently have 4 clients and 20 of their employees are in our learning network. So our goal is in the next 1 to 2 years, about 2,500 people will be working for different companies, but they're in our learning network. We run the learning process for all these 2,500 people in different companies. So that's the area, you know, we are pursuing. So this is, I think, what we're working on, and the human capital development fellows would be working on different problems ranging from recruitment to training to leadership development to employee wellness and so on, varied problem solving. So we're looking for people with that appetite to learn. We're looking for people who have that hunger to try something new and innovate every day, right? And this involves a lot of deep thinking. Yeah. So now I'm happy to stop and take any questions. So those who are following this live on YouTube, you could ask your questions in the chat as well. I'm also following the comments on YouTube.
May I?
Yeah.
What will be the process of hiring? How will you hire us? As in, this is the orientation program. So are we hired or are we in a trial process?
Well, as I just mentioned, our recruitment process is quite long. So
Yes,
step 1, you'd be asked to fill what we call a persona screening form. So 10 reflection questions to answer. Once you complete the persona screening form and answer the 10 reflection questions, that will give you a sense of what they mean by self-awareness, right? And then you're asked to complete one assignment. So right now we have a reflection-based assignment with 25 reflection questions to complete. So after you complete that assignment, then you're invited to an observation process. So you spend 1 week with us, 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock. You stay in our work environment. You work with different teams. You get a sense of how we work. We involve you in some of our brainstorming sessions and so on. So through that, we get a sense of whether you can survive in an innovation-oriented environment. Let me tell you what I mean by survive in an innovation environment. Innovation environment needs a gentle balance. Let's say you don't speak at all, that's a problem. You're somebody who just speaks all the time, doesn't listen, that's a problem. You need that fine balance of listening and speaking. You're somebody who believes in doing everything solo, nothing collaborative. I want to do everything alone, doesn't work. You're somebody who always wants to hang out with people, but doesn't do the individual deliverables. That's also a problem. So you know that gentle balance becomes very important, right? You're being a doer, you're also being a thinker. But you're only doing thinking, that leads to analysis paralysis. Right? But again, you're only a doer, you're not thinking, there's lack of innovation. That's robotic work. So doing and thinking balance, collaboration and individual contribution balance, this balance becomes very important, and we understand this balance by inviting people into an observation process for a week. And we encourage you to, there's this website, deepthought.education/DT selection. That link was sent to you on Internshala. Go through that link. You'll get a lot of information about Deep Thought. So on our website as well, I think, you'll get a lot of information. You can go through that to get a sense of what the company does. So take up the selection process only if you're truly excited by this, because it's going to be a long selection process. And generally what we tell candidates is, as you keep doing assignments one after the other, continue only if you think you're learning. If you think you're not learning, do not continue, you will waste your time. So because our philosophy is, when we give a lot of assignments and we give recruitment tasks, somebody who's learning from the recruitment task, we are very eager to hire the person. Somebody who's not learning from the recruitment task, it means the person is meant for some other company where the person can learn better and faster. I'm giving you certain things which are integral to how Deep Thought functions. So if you are able to learn through them, it means that if you're hired, you'll learn even more when you're hired. But you're not able to learn through them, it doesn't excite you, which means even if you're hired, it won't excite you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next question, please unmute yourself. Go ahead, ask your question. Those who are watching it live on YouTube, in case you have questions, you can leave your questions in the comments. I'm also following the comments. Okay. So what do you mean by 2,500 people in your learning network? So currently we have 4 clients: Creative Organics, a pharma company; Gropital, an agri-tech company; IPX Club, a fintech company; and Kringle.ai, a martech company. So the 20 people, the youngsters who are hired in these 4 companies, would be doing their learning drills with us, would be doing their reflection drills with us. They would be spending 5 hours a week with Deep Thought, in the Deep Thought ecosystem. So in that sense, over the next 1 year, when we have 2,500 people, all those 2,500 people will be learning and training in our ecosystem. So our goal is, once we do our next round of funding, then we also want to go into fresher recruitment. When we go into fresher recruitment, we don't just hire freshers and place them in companies. We would actually groom the freshers continuously, because in 0 to 3 years, people need a lot of grooming in terms of how they want their career to be going and how they look at various things around them. So imagine we as a training school within companies, right, where we're continuously training people and conducting a lot of activities for them so they can reflect from those activities. And it's about mental wellness, learning, and productivity. I hope this answers your question. So these 2,500 people in our learning network, as if they spend some time with us in terms of our learning drills and activities, so that they can feel good, they can work well, and they can also learn all the way through. That's basically what we're doing. What does Deep Thought logo symbolize? It symbolizes connecting the dots. Yeah. Next question. So we have time for 2 more questions. If anyone has any questions, please go ahead. Those who are following it live on YouTube, you can leave your questions in the chat. Yeah. So Deep Thought works 100% remote. We are hiring for few roles for our clients which need people in Hyderabad, but Deep Thought hires people fully remote. So this fellowship is fully remote. But we might be hiring people for positions in our office location as well. So as of now, in our 4 clients, one of them needs people to be located in Hyderabad. But at Deep Thought, our own company, we are, all our positions are 100% remote. Okay. Anyone has a question? You can unmute yourself, ask your question. Concept behind human capital development. See, the idea is there's this philosophy, theory of Clayton Christensen. Clayton Christensen was called the most influential business thinker in the 21st century. He says, as a company, you grow very fast when you invest in your people. You invest in your people, that's when you grow very fast. So, your financial capital, the wealth in the company, right? You have technological capital, the technology which you have through which you can get things done. But the most interesting capital is human capital, the capabilities of the people and the kind of people you have in your company. The capabilities of people and the kind of people you have in your company is, I think, the most interesting wealth you might have. So this human capital development is about how you improve the people wealth of a company. Because if your people are happy, if your people are productive, if your people continuously learn, naturally your company grows with those people, right? And when you have this kind of a culture, by seeing such people, more and more good people join you. Why is that some companies have the best going and applying to them? Because the culture is really good and people want to work in such companies. So human capital development is about bringing the best to work for you, giving them more and more opportunities to explore themselves, to learn and to grow in the company, and give them the best opportunity to contribute value and get promoted and grow within the organization. So if you're giving people that opportunity to come, contribute and grow, that's when you as a company grow. But unfortunately, a lot of companies want to do it, but they're not quite sure how to do it. So we as a company go help them on how to do it. And we're building a B2B SaaS product. That B2B SaaS product gives them the tools, the technology product gives them the tools to execute this well. Yeah. Anybody else has a question can go ahead and ask the question. I hope this answers your question around what is this human capital development. So yeah, anybody, if not, you can shoot in a follow-up question in the chat. And those who are watching this live on YouTube, you can ask your questions in the comments. I'm listening to that as well. Yeah, we have time for one last question. Anybody who has a question can go ahead and ask a question. We have time for one last question. Anybody who has a question can go ahead and ask a question. Why do we have a long process? Because we want to hire the best. We have a long selection process purely because we want to hire the best. So this is a very challenging project. It's not meant for any random person who wants a casual internship. Somebody who is very serious about this project which we're working on, who would because look, the people who work in Deep Thought, I think they grow very fast. That's evidenced through all the stories, which are shared with people. So naturally, this kind of an opportunity, we do not want to open it up to some Tom, Dick and Harry, right? Now, what is a usual way of selecting people? You give them an exam and you look at the marks. But just because somebody scores well in an exam doesn't mean that person is a rock star. That person can be just loafing around after the selection is done. So the kind of people we want are the ones who, if given an opportunity, can learn and grow. So that's why we have a long selection process where we put people in different situations to see if you have that growth mindset in you. As I mentioned in the beginning of this orientation, even if you're 9 on 10 on skill, but low on learnability, we're not interested. I'm sure there are 100 companies which want you, but we are not interested. But you're somebody who's having that growth mindset, you want to learn and grow, that's when we want you. So, but again, everyone says have growth mindset. Interview is not a way you find out growth mindset. So that's why we take a long selection process through which we find out if people have the growth mindset. How long is the internship? Friendly advice. If you're serious about any organization you're applying, read the JD properly. the duration of the internship is mentioned on Internshala, it is 6 months. So one of the things again which college students mess up is not reading the JD before applying. So if you're in this human capital development space, get used to this, because you'll have to go keep telling people, read the JD before applying. Right? Unfortunately, our colleges don't do a good job in terms of educating students on how to go about the whole recruitment process. You're applying to a company, read the JD, open the company's website, read about the company, know more about the company, and then go ahead with the selection process. But people go apply to 100 companies, wait for somebody to respond, no clue of what the company is doing. That's not the way it works, right? So you read about the company, understand, then apply, see if it suits you. The idea is not to work for any random company. Work for a company which matches with your interest, which matches with your value system. What is your personal value system? If that matches with the company's value system, that's when you'll not feel like you're working. That's when work won't feel like work. You naturally integrate yourself into the company and your growth will just happen naturally, right? So that's, I think, one thing I would like to tell all the youngsters out here. So thanks a lot, everyone, for joining in. So as mentioned, the selection process link would be sent to you via Internshala, or I'm sending it right now in the chat as well. It is deepthought.education/DT selection. So there you can complete the assignments and join the WhatsApp group. Once you join the WhatsApp group, you'll be getting the further steps. So you complete the assignment, and after the assignment, we'll invite you to observation process. And after the observation process is done, in case we feel you're aligned, that's when we hire you, right? So thanks a lot, everyone, for joining in, and I hope this helps. Yeah.